Good morning, everyone. Let's see how that looks. All right. How's everybody doing this morning? Welcome. It is Legend Day, and I am going to bring a few legends on and look forward for everyone to enjoy what's going on today. What a great day. Joseph, good morning. Jonte. Hey, Jonte, man, you should be going live with me sometime. What's up? The famous John Tate Hall, the smallest professional basketball player in the world. If you haven't checked him out, used to play for the Harlem Globetrotters, still does once in a while. Awesome. Very good. Well, let's get some questions going. We got a lot of really good guests on here. We got John Astor coming through. We have Missy Fro on there. Is that possible? Oh my gosh, look at all these people. Thank you so much for joining. Welcome, everybody. You're going to love who's coming on today. It's amazing. Thank you so much. Let's see some questions coming in. Dave, I sent you an email. All right, I will look for that. If you send me emails, send them to david@dmeltzer.com. Make sure I get them. Thank you. Don't forget, training is Friday. This Friday at 11 a.m. Pacific time. It's free for everyone. Been blessed to have thousands of people now register. So please join us if you're not registered. Let me know. david@dmeltzer.com. Good morning, good morning, good morning. What keeps you motivated? Understanding the difference between motivation and inspiration is what keeps me motivated. And I think, that's really important to understand that difference. Motivation can be caused by fear. And what that means is that motivation is caused by focus. So those people that can focus, you can become motivated. It's a catalytic event. It means it can get you started, but inspiration is going to get you there, right? So I focus on inspiration, not motivation. If I need a quick boost, I go ahead and get motivated and I get focused. But you can't stay focused 24 hours a day, but you can stay motivated and clear the connections that you cause, mostly by the ego interference to corrosion of allowing yourself to be in. How to choose my goal. Don't have just one goal. The way that we choose our what, which is essential, is to know our values and take inventory of our values every day and allow our values to change every day. Allow yourself to be a hypocrite. Allow yourself to change your personal values, your experiential values, your giving values, your receiving values. Allow them to change. And you will absolutely start seeing that there's a lot of opportunities and options. Options are key. The people that are being most successful now and are making the most money, helping the most people, and having the most fun now had the most options, right? I'm in the sports marketing business, but I allow different opportunities and options to exist in order to effectuate all types of different things that take advantage of capabilities that I have developed that are synergistic and supplementary to making money now, helping people now, and having fun now. And when they start filling up arenas and stadiums and we get back to the Superbowl, Pro Bowl, Masters, Kentucky Derby, the Hall of Fame, and looking to that, I'll switch back to those opportunities. Why do I procrastinate? Ego. Ego is why we procrastinate, Why should I go work out when I can sit here comfortably on the couch and eat my Happy Meal? We're going to do the path of least resistance, which causes us to procrastinate. So we do all types of different tools like do it now, study your calendar, ask and attract, ask people for help, inventory things. All of these things will get you moving. As Einstein always says, nothing happens till it moves. You got to start moving. So lower the bar. Go ahead and start moving. Figure out and, give yourself a minimum amount of time to do things every day and watch those baby steps turning from yards into football fields into miles. I'm proving that with the Calendar Club with Jessie and Colin. They're running a mile a day in coordination with every day. 1 mile on the first, they're on 16 or 15 miles today. Looking to hear. Awesome. Let's see here. Let's go live, see who's on part. It's 8 o'clock. Looking for our boys. And looking, where's Jonte? Anyway, welcome. What is your words of wisdom for founder in this uncertain situation? Great question, Tracy. Go to what's certain, right? If you feel there's an uncertain situation, then go to what's certain. What are the four things that are certain? We have control over our mindset, our feelings, our ability to say and think what we want, and then also what we do. And so if we're feeling uncertain, then let's go to what we're certain of. And so correct our mindset and look at life with a Meltzer kaleidoscope, three lenses: a lens of productivity, how much value can I provide; a lens of accessibility, how accessible am I to others, and how am I accessing what I want, receiving; and gratitude, right? Work on it. All three of those, by the way, productivity, accessibility, and gratitude, are practices. That means you have to do them every day. That means that you'll never hit perfection. It'll be progress, not perfection. That means that we want to be as consistent and persistent as we can, and we want to enjoy that consistent, persistent. Jake tells me I have a special guest signing on now. That's good. How do I work on $1 million ideas with zero capital? I would look for successful businesses that you can grow and get the capital. If you don't have relationship capital, or a firm or strict business plan that has a strong value justification to it, if you don't have credibility, if you don't have emotional attachments, if you don't have the network, if you don't quantify the reasons, impacts, and capabilities, I would go, hey, there he is. We'll let him join. We are blessed to have a legend on here. Let me join him in. And he is one of my favorite people, and it's going to make me feel good. So I can stop talking about COVID for a minute and start talking about my favorite topic, football. We're not talking enough football. There he is.
Good morning, Dave. How are you?
I'm terrific, man. How are you?
Oh, just another good morning here in Arizona.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
another
man.
great morning here in San Diego. And I wanted to have you on. This is Donovan McNabb, for those people that forgot about football already. uh, so many people have, such change, and they've
Right.
diverted their attention to some things that they enjoy. You're someone that, people just see football players on the
Yeah.
field and they think,
Hmm.
man, they must love everything they do. The majority of things football players and ex-football players do are not really things that you naturally would love to do.
Right. Right.
You're always dealing with change. Like any day of the week, deal with change. Talk about someone calling you and telling you you can't have a job anymore, or you have to move across the
Mhm.
country. We're used to that in our business.
Right.
What are some of the tools that you use to get rid of that uncertainty? Because you got to stay focused and
Hmm.
forget about, and there's been a lot of uncertainty. What do you use in the tools to stop that uncertainty?
You want to first and foremost, it starts with that work ethic that you build in order to prepare yourself to be the best at your craft. And I think also we got to take into account that we have about a 6 month period where, some guys either decide to sit on their butts, or some guys decide to do other things that will reach out to the community and inspire the guys out there, the youth out there to do great things. Now, you talked about it. They watch us so much and all they see is a helmet on. But football players are doing a lot of great things in the community, especially in these trying times where we're seeing what the coronavirus has done all across the country. Football players are dedicating their time and showing their appreciation for the first responders. They're paying for meals to be sent and prepared for the kids and families that are less fortunate. That they look forward to those kids going and receiving 2 meals or 3 meals a day at their school, given schools. And now that schools are out, that's something that we should pay attention to with a lot of these football players and basketball players as well. Also, you got to take into account that, with these times with the social distancing, it's tough for some, but yes, they're still putting in that time and work. You see guys throwing footballs in their backyards. You see them working out at home. They're spending time with their families, working with their kids, their wives. It's a fun time. Obviously, it's tough, but it's still fun because you spend more time with your family. And that's something that I think we take pride in. We take pride in seeing the growth of our kids and what they would be able to do with maybe some a little bit of guidance or inspiration, and spending that time with them right now and showing them that you're still working out and preparing yourself for your job when it comes about. That sends a big message.
Yeah, it's interesting because I see so much education and awareness growing while we have this time to pause. In my business, I'm much more efficient at what I do. Being able just to see you like this, I never would have even thought about asking. And these are really valuable conversations. They take 10 minutes, but it
Right.
keeps us connected and we get to share ideas with so many more people now. So, looking at the virtual side of it, the
Right.
draft, the draft is going to be interesting because I think they're going to learn a lot about, you know, this. We went from, not being an event, the draft, to being a huge event. Now it's going to be a virtual event. What do you think they're going to learn from the draft now that it's virtual?
The funny thing is, most of these scouts that are in those big rooms, they don't want to be there anyway because their input really doesn't carry much weight. It's really just the GM and the head coach and maybe a few assistant coaches there. So those scouts that have been putting in work all throughout the year of going and recruiting these kids, watching film on these kids, seeing if they would actually fit into the system in which the head coach has implemented. They sit in those rooms and they're just like me and you. You might say something, and they basically look at them like, "Oh, you know what? Shut up. We're not listening to you." So the virtual situation that we'll see is really not taken away from what we've seen in the past. All we're not seeing now is we're not seeing the draft picks come up on stage and probably the 1,000 hugs that Roger Goodell gives every time he calls their name, or you see a bunch of the scouts kind of sitting at the table, which the GM is walking around and communicating with agents and things of that nature to get the deal done. It's just going to be over the net. And I think the biggest thing that I've heard so far of a couple of coaches have said their tech guy is going to be the most important guy at the draft because he's got to make sure that things are still up and they can get their draft pick in time and they're communicating with the agent and obviously the player and so on and so on. So I don't think it's that big of a deal. It's just the fact that it takes away from what we've seen over the years where the kids and their families are there to draft.
Yeah, and I think, it's interesting because those kids are more acclimated to the virtual side anyway. And I think
Right.
more kids, I know my 10-year-old, he is spouting off so many, I'm working all day or actually I get paid for it. He's spouting off like I'm an expert. I'm like, call Uncle Warren or Uncle Donovan, man. I don't know anything about quarterbacks. He wants the Chargers to take two, and I'm like, I'm not sure how that's going to happen, my friend.
It actually can happen. And it's funny you bring that up because in this class of quarterbacks, Love is starting to move up, and people are listening to Mel Kiper, and they're listening to McShay, and they're listening to Lagaflor, and Garoppolo, or Garofalo, and it's funny. It's funny because Love has got one of those guys that's a diamond in the rough that I think a lot of teams are really trying to be quiet on their recruiting of him. Because they're reaching out to his former coach, they're reaching out to his high school coach. Now this is all virtual now. This isn't picking up a phone.
Yeah.
I mean, think of some of the old school coaches who don't know much about the phones or internet, and you're trying to reach out to them virtual. But Tua is in a different situation. Now, if Tua was healthy, Tua would definitely be the number one quarterback. And
That's
and the
awesome.
thing that I worry about Burrow is it a 1 year wonder? Because just last year they were talking about him possibly being drafted in the fourth, fifth round. And then now all of a sudden you become the first pick of the draft by throwing 60 touchdowns. Do you take that into account because Joe Brady joined the team and he changed up the offense? Or is it just that the talent around him just elevated their game much better, which made the job easier for Joe Burrow? Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not taking anything away from his season. That was remarkable
Yeah.
last year. But if Tua was healthy, things would be a little bit different. So I know Tua's been training down there with Trent Dilfer, and he's been doing a good job with him. You see his mobility on different clips that you see. But in this whole virtual deal, this what bothers me with virtual, Dave. Okay, so we can sit and talk to players. We can get to know players. We can get to know their agents and communicate with them of what could happen. Now, the trusted training staffs that we have out here in the NFL, now 32 teams, you can talk to different teams of trying to get a player in to the hospital close to where he's at, doing a full examination, get MRIs, X-rays, everything else, full examination, and get that sent to some of these teams. Why haven't we heard any of that? They did it for Tom Brady. Tom Brady went to New York and got his physical, and they sent that to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. All of a sudden, he signed with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So these are things that they're doing under the radar. And so Tua may end up being in Detroit, and they may look to try to trade Stafford, or he could possibly drop down to six and go to go to the Chargers, because I'm sure he doesn't want to go to Miami. We love Miami. We love the water, but you don't want to go to Miami right now.
No, Southern California is great. Now, one of the things I've learned through our mentor, Warren Moon, is that there's one thing that nobody talks about. They
Right.
talk about arm strength, they talk about processing, reading, speed in
Yes.
general. But what I see why you are one of the greatest ever and Warren Moon is one of the greatest ever is that there's this component, and even in my profession that I strive towards, it's the ability that you must be what you can be.
Right.
Yeah, but nobody talks about that, because you could take why Tom Brady is great is not because he's the strongest quarterback of all time or the smartest quarterback,
Right.
but he has what you and Warren have. Every morning he wakes up, regardless of whether he's playing or not, he must be what he can be, and nobody talks about that ever, and they don't look at it. Which one of these quarterbacks do you think has that must be what they can be attitude?
You know what? It has to start with Tua. It has to start with Tua, because now you have to really dig into his background of, where he came from, what his family is all about, his religious beliefs, and just kind of how he goes about his day. Tua is not the 6'4", 6'5" quarterback that can stand in the pocket, and you talk about how cerebral he is. You know what? At the end of the day, I don't care if you're 7 foot, I don't care if you're 6 foot or 6'5". If you're a winner, that's what helps in this league. And you talk about Tom Brady. Tom Brady doesn't have the strongest arm. Tom Brady, it's not the smartest guy all the time. It's not like one of those guys that step in a room and he's just the smartest guy in the room. Tom Brady is a winner. And exactly what you were talking about is taking your talents and expanding them to the fullest. And, Joe Burrow has great size. He was recruited heavily to go to Ohio State. It didn't work out, transferred to LSU. Then you look at Justin Huber, who we talk about his size. Oh, my God, he ran a 4.6 and a 40. Who cares? Now, all of a sudden, the 40 is important. It's funny because when African Americans ran their 40s and they ran 4.4, the first thing they said was, "Oh, well, he can play receiver."
Right.
Now we get a white quarterback to run a 4.6, and it's like, "Oh my God, he's a burner. Oh,
Right.
unbelievable." And they got to understand that the quarterback position now, these are athletes playing the quarterback position where it has the ability to throw the football. And so I look at this class, and they throw Eason in there, who's in top 5, and then I'll also add Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts, the best thing that happened to Jalen Hurts was, number one, him transferring to Oklahoma and being in a different system where it was more spread out. He could throw the football, put up better numbers than Kyler Murray and Baker Mayfield, and then going to the combine and showing him playing under center. That right there, because the misnomer of this whole deal is guys have to learn how to play under center. It's so much shotgun. If you don't know how to play under center and still read the defense and throw an accurate pass, you can't perform in this league. And he showed that at the pro day as well as at the combine. So I don't discredit, or I don't not add Jalen Hurts' name, because I think it's very important. But I look forward to Jalen actually making some noise in this draft as well.
And then on the marketing side, I know I'm a big fan of Kathy Cardenas. I know you are as well, and I want to give her a shout out because she's always so gracious.
She's probably crying right now that you threw her name out there.
No, she's awesome. But
no, that's my girl.
Yeah, and there's a lot of internal PR still that needs to go on. You definitely deserve to be in the Hall of Fame, and I know Kathy and I have had many conversations about what that means. Warren Moon's the only African American in the Hall of Fame, and he doesn't want as much as my man.
It's a lonely spot.
It kills him right now. It kills him right now, especially with you on the sideline of that. And so I want to make sure I include this in the content, because anybody out there that wants to go and look at the statistics of what it is, and how much you did for the game of football, and if anyone doubts it, just compare Joe Namath. If you guys think Joe Namath was great, compare the statistics of Joe Namath to Donovan McNabb.
Numbers are one that I think they use as kind of an added bonus for certain people. They like to throw accolades as far as, well, how many times was he all pro? How many times did he win MVP? That is not what it's all about. It's about winning. The winning percentage is about the numbers that you put up. It's about the change that you made at that given time while you played. And you alluded to it a little bit, but also you got to take into account there were 3 teams in the early 2000s that were dominating at their spots in the NFC, AFC, whatever it may be. And we were one of those. You know, we know about the New England Patriots and Tom Brady. I hate the Patriots, but you know, they took my ring. No, uh
And
but it
many
also,
others.
yeah, and then it
Think
was
how
also
Atlanta
the,
feels.
yeah, I know, right? They're like Michael Jordan walking around with a handful of rings. You know, it's like, oh God. But you got to throw the Indianapolis Colts in there as well with Peyton Manning. So I just think for what we did in Philadelphia, it was an exciting time, not only just for people in the Philadelphia area, Delaware, you know, New Jersey, but it also was across the country. You know, people wanted to watch us play, and that's what it's all about.
And then just when you're saying that, Danica Patrick came on, and now she's going to talk a little bit about the Packers. So,
Oh God. Hey, I had
I
some
got your
success
backup
versus
quarterback
against
coming
the
on next,
Patriots.
Danica Patrick.
There you go. Danica's from Chicago. She's from Illinois, so we got some strong ties together.
I will let her on, let you go,
All
my
right.
friend. Let's stay in touch. I'm going to push Hall of Fame Donovan McNabb. He's going to be there. He's going to take side by side with my boy Warren Moon. Thank you so much,
There you
buddy.
go. No problem. Thanks, Dave, for having me.
Take care. You're
All
awesome.
right.
Thank you. What a treat. Yeah, we got to, everybody out there, you got to realize, man, he deserves everything. Amazing. Let's bring Danica on. I will go ahead and join her. We go from the Eagles to the Packers. I have nothing to stand on where I went to college, Occidental, Char. Oh my goodness. Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
Morning. I'm good. How are you?
Are you in California?
Yeah, living in
Nice.
California.
I had your friend yesterday, Kelly Earnhardt. Miller is
Oh,
Miller,
yeah.
and we
She's
had
great.
a. She is, and we were talking about your transformation. I mentioned how competitive you were, and she's like, got really super defensive. She was like, whoa, 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 she's evolved. She's super transformative and spiritual. I said, well, I know that's why we actually connected. I said,
I
if we,
know.
when I was young, Danica would have hated me. I was super insecure and competitive. She'd be like, who's that jerk?
Yeah, but we all, I mean, this is the beauty of life. I think for me, it's about evolution. It's about growing. So, um, having some love and respect for that person that you were is okay. It means you've evolved, right? And you've broken out of some of the old sort of ways of doing things or thinking. Yeah, so I mean,
That's
oh my gosh, when I think about how I was when I was younger, God, I looked like the biggest biatch.
oh my,
I was just like, I walked around like with a frown on my face. I was always so angry. But, that was where I was at then. And now I just
I
smile every day. It's probably because I'm in California sunshine.
I'm looking over to my left as well, and I put a beach picture behind me. But this is a period of reflection, and you and I both understand how important it is to every day take a pause. Utilizing our higher thinking and higher power and source. But one thing that keeps coming to mind is what a hypocrite I still am. I'm 52 years old. I've been through my thing, and every day I take inventory of my values, and I'm looking and seeing in one area, my ego. I practice ending fear. That's one of my biggest practices now, to identify my ego, to identify, where I'm causing this interference in my life, this corrosion to this unbelievable source of energy that sometimes, like, I'm so full of appreciation and I'm able to connect, and it's amazing. And I sat here through this. I'm not the dad I thought I was. I'm not even the husband I thought I was. I'm not the business guru that I thought I was, or people put me out to be. And I sit here going, if I could, and I'm thinking about doing it, list out all the screw ups over this transformational period of mine, where I have said to teaching people, these lessons keep on coming, and they're all ego based lessons. Have you been able to do extra reflection in this period of time and found any of those areas of improvement for you as well?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, first off, I'm kind of an introvert. So for me, this time is like lovely. Like, I love being home. And I've realized, and so part of this is we've been learning about astrology. So it's been great to have the time for that because these classes are like hours long and there's homework. But that paired up with seeing how I operate and seeing how I just kind of go about my day and I realized how codependent I was.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I would never see that with you.
Well, yeah, you know, I'm like a, I'm like a, I'm a real, I'm like a, I have this Aries, like I have this like front that's very strong, but I really love to have partnership and I love harmony and I really just love everything to be nice. And I like to make I like to make people happy around me. So what happens is when you like to make people happy around you, you can lose yourself a little. And you can, then you kind of create codependency, right? Do you want to go do this? Well, if they say no, all of a sudden you're not as happy. That's codependent, right? Like you need them to say something so that you'll be happy, or you need them to do something so you'll be happy. So I guess I realized how much I operate in that space of like, you know, needing validation or needing acceptance or something, or, you know, needing a companion.
You're a pleaser.
Yeah, I am a pleaser. Yeah. Yeah. I lose myself because I like people to be happy. So that's the conundrum, is that I really do find joy in other people being happy. But at some point in time, there's a breaking point where you can't do it anymore. And then that's, you know, then you're really miserable and you're really unhappy, and you can kind of lash out. So, you know, making sure that I'm taking care of me along the way has been, and realizing that when I ask something, I'm asking just out of love and curiosity and wanting like offering up the space. But if there's a no, or if somebody wants to go do their own thing, to not take offense to that. Right? Does this resonate with any codependent out there?
Yeah, me. I'm getting therapy here. This is awesome. You know, I'm going to launch this brand, the Ferocious Buddha, and it's such a, for me, that's the depiction I've given myself and others have given me, because I still switch back. And as you're talking, I'm like, oh my gosh, Danica's a ferocious Buddha like me. You know, you still have this ability to, you know, have this transformational wisdom, but yet there's this side of you that's codependent, that has an insecurity that we have to, you know, get more, do more, be more. And, you know, when you were describing yourself when you were younger, I remember being at the Indy 500, and the first time we ever met, you would never, ever remember, because you were so intensely focused. It was before the race, and you like literally ran me over, and I was like totally in love with you, going, oh my God, Danica Packers just ran me over. She's awesome. And then I see this ferocious
like, piss off, it's race day.
Oh, no. You're awesome. But you are an entrepreneur as well. Into the throat. What types of enlightenment or focus have you had on business?
Yeah.
Because obviously the landscape has changed quickly, which you're used to. What types of things have you found to synergistically or supplementary put your capabilities toward making more money and making a successful business, while other people may be looking at shortages and voids?
Well, first off, I'm very fortunate. Like I don't, you know, the businesses operating and being really profitable, which they aren't, is not dependent on my ability to operate. And so what it has allowed me to do, though, so shifting in a different direction, is I've actually just worked more. I've actually just, you know, done more work. I've done more around how to build some infrastructure for my businesses to be more successful, and looking into the social side, the media side, the marketing side, the structure, the goals, the vision, the, you know, mission statement, like looking at it from a little bit more of a totality standpoint, and understanding that, you know, I really need some professional help. Like, I think I've always just thought that they'll just kind of operate and they'll just get bigger and bigger and it'll all just work out. And what I forget is like not everything lands where my career ended, because that took 27 years, right? So.
You mean you're not an overnight success?
You know, right. I mean, I have a really good head start, but, you know, people buy things based on, you know, awareness and trust. And so, you know, building those things up is it takes time. So yeah, I've realized that they need help, and I've realized that I need to, like, one of the things that blew me away, maybe you know more about this, but I had no idea how convoluted Instagram was and how it's super, I mean, I had no idea that 10% of my audience was seeing my posts. I mean, that just blew me away. I was like, wait a second, like it's low on their feed? And they're like, no, like it doesn't show up. And you're like,
Yeah.
holy shit, that's
Oh,
not fair. And so
that,
knowing that, you know, you need to promote things and you have to play the game.
yeah, it's, you know, and
And
that's why I got mentorship. Like I went right to Gary Vee 3 years ago at Super Bowl because I was like, this thing seems so weird to me. It's like
yeah,
when I went to law school, one thing I learned, and that they create their own language and their own rules. And after I graduated, I was like, you know what? Being a lawyer is bullshit. They basically just convoluted everything so people have to pay you a bunch of money per hour to say what common sense already tells you. Like literally, that's the way I looked at it. And Instagram's like the same way. Like, but the difference is that lawyers are like, you know, old middle-aged white people, where now the lawyers of Instagram are like 19-year-old kids that can blow smoke up your ass for saying, oh yeah, do this, pay me $2,000 a month, I'll do this. I've lost more money trusting 19-year-olds on Instagram.
right, right, because you don't know. And it's like this whole new program, this new business, this new landscape that for especially like, I mean, I don't get it. I'm also not very technical. Like for me,
Yeah.
connecting the red and the red and the blue is still confusing. So, you know, it does not compute. But you know, you just end up trusting people because they sound so much smarter than you, and you're like, well, I know I need help. So, you know,
Yeah.
you just spin your wheels for a while. But I'm excited for the next phase with the, you know, the group that I'm going to work with and to see what ends up coming of it, because I really believe in it. And it started with a friendship. So I think that's, you know, as you know, you're such a relationship guy, you're such a connector. And I mean, you know, the best things start with a friendship and trust. So
And then two, fanship. What I think is parallel to racing is that the consistency of, you know, every week people seeing you, you know, running around the track, but these fans were consistent. And the same thing I see on Instagram. Like this is our race time right now. And the more people that see you and they adore you and they resonate with your frequency, then you just build this. And but the difference is instead of a limited 100,000 people that can show up to a racetrack, you know, you could have 100 million.
yeah.
And you know, there's not many people in our genre, especially I'm 20 years older than you, my genre, that are out there trying to get fans to show up to their stadium. And
Yeah.
it's easier than you think if you get the right team, the right pit crew, the right, you know, engineering behind it. And it sounds like you're on your way. Last question, I'll let you go. Routine is so important. Discipline, routine, and you know, are one of the most disciplined people that I know. And I see people failing because they are not waking up. They're not exercising. They're not looking at nutrition. They don't have a routine. And there's so much opportunity if you are productive and accessible and gracious with your time. What's your number one routine tip for people to help them out?
I mean, let me tell you what I do. And then, like, for me, at this point in time, I would kind of have a very similar flow. So it ended up working out really well for me because of the way that I do my days, and that I like to be home and that I do a lot of things on my own. So I decided to share it. So every Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, I do workouts at 9 a.m. And I lead them on Instagram Live. And so I did it the first time and just thought, oh, this is fun, I'll do this. And then I was like, oh, that was cool, I'll do it again. And then after like a week or so, I was like, all right, I guess I'll commit to like this time slot, right? Because that way it gives people that predictability to know that those are the days that it's coming, and they can build their days around those things. So for me, I'm always getting up, have coffee, number one, have breakfast, and then, you know, maybe do some work out, get ready, you know, have some lunch and do some more work. And then in the afternoon, it might be like a walk, or it might be yoga or something like that. So anyway, for me, I think that having those commitments, so I really love the lives because the lives feel like you're showing up to a workout, right? So right now, use the social platforms for what they're offering. So many people are doing it for free, like I am. I'm doing it anyway. So, so I think instead of saying, well, it'll be live for 24 hours, just hold yourself accountable to showing up to the lives when they're happening. There'll also be this, in my opinion, and maybe you'll relate to this too. There's a connection of consciousness as well within that sphere of doing things at the same time as other people. Even though we're in different places, I still feel like there's a connection through consciousness and through just like, even if that's too big of a word, like that just sort of like heart space of knowing that you're truly watching things happen as they're happening right then, and not, oh, in retrospect. It's like watching something, it's like watching sporting events if you've recorded them. Like it just doesn't feel as big, right, as when you watch it when it's happening. So, you know, holding accountable to those live times, or those, you know, something that's happening at that very moment. And it's the only way we connect with people right now, right? I mean, you know, you go to the grocery store, you put your mask on, you're like, people are like, get away from me. And at home, it's the same people, but it's the only way we can truly connect with like a bigger group of people is through like doing it when it's actually live.
I think that's brilliant, because I'm a collective consciousness person. My mission in life is to create one of happiness, which I think is the most strong, I mean, literally viral disease is happiness. By witnessing happiness, it is spread and it strengthens your immune system. Just for those two things. Oh yeah. That's why I want to create this consciousness. But I was resistant to this. Like, I've been on this longer than most people, at least in my genre. And like, I am so just thrilled that I can connect emotionally with people on this and live. And I think the motivation comes from the recorded stuff. We can motivate people. They see you and I do something, but the inspiration when they're connected in spirit happens with the live stuff, because you just don't have that energy. It's not mirrored, and I think that's the difference. But anyway, I know we have to let you be by yourself to get wiser. You are my little ferocious Buddha. I love you. I appreciate you coming on with me.
Thank you. Well, I'm going to do a podcast interview here. So I had so much fun interviewing you. God, you're such a open soul, and so like there is so much love there, and I appreciate you for who you are and your heart. God, you're such a wonderful human.
Thank you. Yeah, I feel the same way. You're amazing. Let me know I can be of service. Thank you, Danica.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Wow. I saw your comments. I was just entranced by Donovan McNabb and Danica Patrick today. You guys check out the podcast. Danica's been on mine, the playbook, and I was on hers as well. She has some great guests. I think Joe DeSena was waiting to come on after I was leaving. Tom Bilyeu, just some amazing people. Probably don't get to see that side of Danica as much, which is her evolved self, my ferocious Buddha. I'm going to collect a bunch of ferocious Buddhas out there, people that are ferocious with their free will to be peaceful and joyful and spread happiness. That kind of is the definition what we do. I'm going to pin up, Jakey, my text number so people can register for trainings on Friday. Danica and I both do everything for free. So my trainings on Fridays, Road to Revenue, building a habit machine. So, forget just creating one habit. What if I could teach you to create a machine so that all habits could be effectuated and executed on? So you want to lose weight? Boom. You want to lose it? Boom. You want to make money? Boom. I'm going to create a habit machine and tell you the construction of how to do that. Some pragmatic advice tied into the spirit and inspiration that we have. If you want to register or your friends register, just use the text number 949-298-2905 or my email address, david@deemeltzer.com. So love to have you. Let's take a few questions here. Looking at what's going on. Best practice to help release shame, forgiveness. Jessie, thank you so much for your questions, by the way. They're very insightful. Forgiveness is absolutely, it releases shame. It allows you to be accountable, asking yourself two questions. What did I do to attract this into my life, and what am I supposed to learn from it? And when we learn from it, we release it and we forgive ourselves. And therefore, we can only give what we have. We can forgive others as well. Sorry if I missed it, but what is Donovan doing now? Is he still involved with the game? Yeah, he does announcing. He also is an entrepreneur and obviously a TV personality and just a wonderful philanthropist. He does so much in his community. And I did not ask enough questions about that, by the way. Let's see here. Not even a question, but you just have to live in the moment. Live in the moment. Okay, yeah, I agree. Live in the moment. That's my boy. All right, let's see here. What type of questions do you recommend we ask? I would recommend asking anything that can improve your life, productivity-wise, accessibility-wise, philanthropically-wise, happiness especially-wise, mental, spiritual, emotional questions, money questions. One of the prideful things that I have is able to find the answers for you and give you some insight on where to go to find them as well and share my lessons that I've learned. Jacqueline Burnett is in the house. Give her a big shout out. She is a wonderful person taking care of my family with great respect. My teenage daughters will not listen to me, but will listen to her. Thank you for being my liaison. How do you stop feeling struck? I would say stuck, right? Get stuck being stuck. What does that mean? Focus in on what that is. Realize that you're never stuck. You're always evolving. You're looking for the light, the lessons, and the love and everything. If you're enjoying the consistent, persistent pursuit of your potential, you may feel stuck, but you're not. You're accelerating and growing. You just can't see where and how and when, what capabilities, what skill sets, what knowledge you're acquiring. But you must maintain that desire that you must be what you can be. And that will allow you, you're never stuck. So I always say, get stuck being stuck. That means that you're enjoying the consistent, persistent pursuit of your potential. You know, at the risk of being consistent, you may feel you're stuck because of the consistent nature of consistency. Figure that one out. Sometimes I get above myself, but because of the consistent nature of consistency, we feel stuck. All right, so get stuck being stuck. Enjoy the consistent, persistent pursuit of your potential. Hey, Dave, how do you always be optimistic? I'm not always optimistic. I just react into optimism, into the higher vibration, into the higher frequency in moments. Used to be minutes, then before it was days, and then it was weeks, before that was months, and then even years. So I pride myself on being a toptimist, the top of the optimists, and learning and loving and getting that light. Hi, David. Why am I still procrastinating despite all the time I have? A lot of people are procrastinating. Look, you got to take inventory of your values. You have to lower the bar. You have to put minutes to things. Give yourself 2 minutes a day to do something. You've got to get moving. Give yourself a goal tomorrow. So for me, my goal tomorrow is to make sure I wake up at 4 a.m., right? And then I go ahead and make a list of ask and attracts. Then I study my calendar. I pay attention to and give intention to what I want for things that I have planned, for things I don't have planned, and sleep. How do you stay motivated is another good one that everyone's asking. Motivation gets you started and inspiration gets you there. So motivation can be anything that allows us to focus. Actually, fear can allow us to focus. But I get moving and motivating. I see myself far beyond starting, but allow myself to lower the bar. If I'm going to push myself to get motivated to work out, I may just lower the bar to I'm going to put my running shoes on. Somehow it just keeps flowing. Once I put the shoes on, I tell myself, you know what, I'm going to run a quarter mile, mile, 2 miles, 3 miles, boom. They get done. And that's what I do with everything in my life. And we'll talk about that on Friday, building a habit machine. It includes motivation, inspiration. It includes performance, quantitative value, how to make more money, help more people, and have more fun, how to develop stronger relationships, to have that collective consciousness that Danica was talking about, how to must be what you can be, building the correct habit machine so that when we want our what, we put it into the habit machine and it comes more rapidly and accurately. That's the importance. 11 a.m. Friday, it's free. Register at the number below, 949-298-2905. If someone has $10,000, what would you advise them to do financially? Well, number one, I tell them to take inventory of their values and then look at the 10,000 and realize what do they want to do timing wise, and what their risk tolerance was, and then go ahead and be more interested than interesting. Find the synergistic and supplementary capabilities that they have, or the expertise that they're looking for, in order to effectuate an investment of that money with the timing that they have that are aligned with their values, and the risk tolerance that they have. And so all of those different variables can be set forth and utilized, and you will achieve your objective with that $10,000. So it just depends on that. Mikhail Brandup, my brother, how are you? The greatest artist, gave me a beautiful, beautiful gift that's hanging in my office. I can't wait to get back to it. It carries such great energy. We'll pin up if you haven't checked out his great work, Mikhail Brandup. Hey, buddy, come on live with me sometime. I'm about to finish up this one, or I would go live. Let me get one more question, and then I got to get to the day, because I'm a student of my calendar. Right here it says, Dennis, laughter is great. Last question here. Thank you, everyone, for joining, by the way. Donovan McNabb, Danica Patrick, Mikhail Brandup, everybody, thank you. What do you mean by ego being the reason we procrastinate? Sure. Because ego edges goodness out of our life, EGO, it edges gold out of our life. Why we aren't inspired or motivated is that we are always connected to this great source of energy, light, and love, and lessons. We're connected at all times to that. And what happens is our ego creates interference to that. It creates corrosion or a stoppage of that. And so all of the identifiable feelings, which we control our feelings, and so then we can control correcting those feelings. Things like, think about how much the need to worry has affected your motivation. How about the need to be right? What about the need to be offended? The need to feel guilty? The need to feel separate, alone? The need to feel inferior? The need to feel superior? The need to be angry? The need for anxiety? The need to fearful? Any of those needs that I listed out, those are just a few of the EGOs, the edging goodness out of your life and edging gold out of your life, edging God out of your life. Thank you, Mikey Diamond, another great guest. Thank you for joining me. Think about it, though. Think about in just one single day. You know, I tell people, you want to save 80 hours a year, put your wallet, your keys, and your phone in the same place every day. 80 hours a year are wasted trying to look for those things. 80 hours. That's nothing compared to the time that you spend wasted on those needs of the ego. And worse than wasting time, it sucks your soul of its energy. So unlike looking for your keys, wallet, and phone, you know, that's just a waste of time. But it's not distracting from the powerful source of energy that we're connected to. It's an emotional drain. So I am in the practice of ending ego. I am in the practice of ending fear. I am in the practice of every day seeing how quickly I can get back to that neutral center, my highest frequency. I'm not going to live like the myth of Sisyphus, where every day I push a boulder up to the top of the hill just to start over in the morning with it at the bottom of the hill. I'm going to plateau and grow by practicing ending fear, by understanding my ego and understanding what I'm doing for the goodness of others, to allow it to come through me. Emrod, save 4 minutes a day. If you could save 4 minutes a day, create efficiencies or effectiveness or statistical success to save 4 minutes, that's 24 hours a year that you're saving. If you're 20 years old, think about it. That's 3 full days of productivity every single year. In 40 years, that's 120 days of productivity. You wonder why you're more successful? You wonder why you're able to get things more rapidly and accurately? You're beating them with time. And that's what edging ego out of your life. Beat people with time. Learn to have a habit machine. Learn to be efficient, effective, and statistically successful. Learn to have those lenses of productivity, accessibility, and gratitude. Anyway, that's Coco telling us it's time. We got to go. I appreciate everyone. Thank you so, so much. Remember, everyone, be kind to your future self. Do good deeds. Join me Friday, 11 a.m. Pacific time. Free training. Thank you.